Hey, what's up traders? Jonathan with Control the Trade here, and I'm excited to bring you this video where we look at preparing for a possible pullback or correction. When the market is moving the way it is, you tend to get complacent, you tend to not worry about where things are going when everyone's talking about the Fed pumping money and don't fight the Fed and things like that. But you always have to have an awareness of that we could crash. And what I'm going to do today is look at 3 popular stocks, and we're going to look at their charts, and we're going to find kind of emergency support opportunities. So let's say that you're not in some of these stocks and you've always wanted to be an owner of, let's say we're looking at Disney, by the way. Let's say you wanted to own Disney stock, but you felt like it's run up so far so fast and you didn't get an opportunity to get in. This is where you're going to look for a major pullback, buy it and hold it. So you can see this has happened in the past. So I have a monthly chart up. So talk about complacency. You can see here back in like 14, 15, 16, we're just cruising up. And then you get a lot of gains wiped out right here. You go from 120 on the chart all the way down to 90 this month here, back in August of 15. So that's the kind of move that you want to prepare for. If I had told you back here, hey guys, you know, if we did a video, let's say back in 2015, maybe we find support here down at 90, and that's our buying opportunity. So that's what we're looking at today. Then you can see we consolidated for a long time, pulled back, had a nice move here. And then you can see we broke out again. And then everyone knows what happened in March. So again, you're bullish, you're riding along here, you're all the way up to 153 as your high. Again, so what if we talked about where there could be support, we would have been looking for something to support this crash area right here. And I'm not sure what that would have been unless I look back. But that's kind of what our goal is today. So we're going to find that next crash like support. And you can see I have 2 lines up on the chart. This is more of a near-term support level. On further pullback. It's not that far away, so I wouldn't call it, you know, the crash area, but this is definitely a support area. 153 is somewhere I think that Disney would find its way back to. Stocks like to revisit former breakdown and breakout areas. That's how I learned to chart. That's how I learned to trade. And this is definitely a former breakout area and breakdown area. You can see right here we broke down. So then we have 117.88 is definitely a breakout area. You can see all the consolidation in this general area. I mean, you could call it 118, you could call it 119, call it 120. Usually I try to get it right to the penny that I want to see. But in this area, I'd be setting alerts. I mean, look at the monthly chart here, the 50-month moving average, the 20-month. So the 50-month moving average right here is this red line. It's about 129. So on a big crash, that would definitely be major support. But if we spike through that, I really like this area right here. So this is the first stock we're looking at is Disney, and this is the first area that I would set your alerts for. And this could be a good buying opportunity if you're trying to buy and hold long term. If we get some sort of major correction crash that people are calling for, then just pay attention down here all the way down to the 200-month moving average, which moves very slowly. That's pretty far away and far down. So you'd probably use the March 2020 crash as support kind of against this line here, way down in the 70s, and you can see that's probably been important in the past as well. That's how I look at charts. You try to look at things that have happened in the past and they tend to repeat themselves. You can see how important this area has been, this 118 in general. How many times this stock has hit this area, bounced off, consolidated, bounced off, and then broke out from it. So that's the way I view charts, at least. You might think that's crazy. You might think whatever you want, but if you look back at my videos, you look back at any of my tweets, you can see this is how I tend to view the market, and we find high probability support and resistance areas. So let's look at the next one now. We've looked at Disney. I want to take a look at Microsoft. We're looking at some of the bigger names here, the more popular names that maybe you wanted to get into and just have it. Now, Microsoft's making just euphoric, parabolic, all-time highs. It's on a non-stop train. It's on a non-stop rocket ride here. I do have one line on the chart here that I believe it would come back to revisit and test, which is 190.70. We're really far away from that right now, so let's look at a weekly chart just to see. I mean, this is what you look for in a long-term chart as far as bullish activity. It's really been in a tight range, moving slowly and steadily. So this has been a great stock. So if it does go along with the rest of the market and start to crash, we want to look for support way down here below 200. I'm going to look at look at this 1 year chart. Actually, it's kind of interesting. We did start to break out around 196. So, you know, you might want to look for, there's a gap right here. You might want to look down here in this area. I haven't really charted this area yet to see how the importance of 210 in this range, 210, 214. I could see that being a very important area. And maybe even we have the 200 period moving average and this Fibonacci retracement down here around 247, 250, right below that. So the best thing you can do is set your alerts. So if one day you wake up and the market's just crashing, you'll at least have your alerts set, and you can maybe jump into some of these names that you hadn't previously had an opportunity to do so. But if you know the numbers, you won't just be catching a falling knife. You'll take a high probability trade. And if the trade doesn't work, you know you're wrong and you can cut the trade and maybe look at the next level. Just keep following me, and I'm going to talk about these levels as they come up, and I'll find the next one. But right now, this is how we're seeing it. We're so far away from it, it's so hard to see. It's so hard to see that these are possible, but they just are. You have to look back and you realize these things happen. These happen all the time. These types of crashes. And you have to be prepared for them, or take them as opportunities. Like AMD, we're looking at AMD right now. I remember in, I think, 2018, this thing might have been down to 13. Let's take a look. Here we go, down to 16. I remember this day. You can see we were just crashing so hard in December. So it's an awareness to be ready for, and look what it's done since this breakout, and it's kind of stayed in this range here that you can see on the chart between 34 and 60, and then broke out with this whole this brand new range right here that I haven't charted yet or really drawn any lines on yet. But what I would be looking for is a pullback down to 60 on the emergency support that we've been talking about in this video, and then into this zone here, even as far down as, say, 35. Now that might sound insane right now, but on a major market crash, it's not so crazy. And let's look back again, I'll show you what I mean. So if you look at it, let's see, there's a 20-year chart back in 06, for example. We got as high as 42, and look at this crash right here within just a few months. From 42 down to 17. So I mean, that's not so much different than what I'm talking about right now. And you don't have to go that far back. Let's go back in time here. So, and then a similar thing happened in 18 when we were just talking about. Got as high as 34 and had this crash. We got cut in half down to 16 and change. So it can happen in an instant. So even though we're at 107 right now, it doesn't mean we can't be at, 53 later on. So that's why 60, this area right here, is definitely going to be important support somewhere in this area if we do start to crash. So just an awareness, guys. I thought this would be an interesting video. I'd love to throw up more tickers to look for these kind of emergency support areas. And if you have any tickers that you want me to chart that you're interested in for the same kind of opportunity, then go ahead and put them in the comments for me, and I'll be glad to find you some numbers on the charts, and maybe even make another video for you. So that's it for this video. I hope this is helpful. Good luck, and remember, don't let the trade control you.